When you hear the word culture, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Maybe it's food, or festivals, or flags? Well, we're going to go way deeper than that. We're going to explore culture not as a list of things, but as the active, psychological process that literally builds your reality.
Right off the bat, let's just toss out the usual ideas. Culture isn't just about the food you eat or the holidays you celebrate. Think of it more like the operating system running in your mind. It's the software that organizes everything you see and how you interact with the world.
So, what did you picture? A favorite dish? A traditional dance? Whatever it was, just hold that thought, because we're about to replace that static image with a much more powerful and, frankly, more useful definition.
Yeah, this is so crucial. Culture isn't some dusty checklist of ethnic traits you find in a museum. It's not a box you tick on a census form. It is a living, breathing process.
Okay, if you remember one thing from our time together, let it be this. Culture is your mental OS. It's the dynamic system that structures your thoughts, your beliefs, your entire sense of self. It's not something you have, it's something you do every single day.
Now, to really get this, we've got to do a little digging. We have to look at where the word culture itself even came from. Turns out, the history of the word holds this incredible metaphor for what it truly means. So let's trace it back.
The journey of this one word tells the whole story. It starts with this ancient root, kol, which means to turn the earth, to make a furrow with a plow. That eventually becomes the Latin word colere, to till, to cultivate. For centuries, culture was about actively tending crops or animals. The idea of tending the mind, that came way later.
And bam, this is the moment everything changes. In 1605, the philosopher Francis Bacon drops this phrase, and it was absolutely revolutionary. He's the first one to take this farming metaphor and apply it directly to the human brain. The mind, he was saying, is like a field. It needs to be actively tended and cultivated for ideas and beliefs to actually grow.
And this leads to a really important distinction. See, education informs the mind. It's about accumulating facts. But culture improves the mind. It's about taking those facts and really integrating them, assimilating them through reflection. You can be a walking encyclopedia, a total bookworm, but still lack culture if you haven't woven that knowledge into the very fabric of how you think.
Okay, so if culture is a process, how does it actually work? I mean, how do we build these massive shared worlds of meaning that we all live inside of? Let's take a look at the actual architecture.
The anthropologist Victor Turner gave us this powerful concept called liminality. The easiest way to think about it is as a creative timeout from the normal rules of society. It's that in-between space, like in a rite of passage, when a teenager isn't a child anymore, but isn't quite an adult yet. In these liminal states, the regular structures are suspended, and that gives us the room to reflect and forge brand new ways of thinking.
And I just love this phrasing. Liminality breaks the cake of custom. It shatters our routines, our taken-for-granted assumptions, and lets us play with the very building blocks of our reality. It's in these weird in-between moments that culture really grows and renews itself.
So everything that comes out of this cultural work can basically be mapped onto this grid. On one axis, you've got internal things, like your personal morals, versus external things, like a national monument. On the other axis, you've got the personal versus the collective. So you end up with 4 quadrants: your private ethics, the public social rules, objects that are meaningful just to you, and big societal icons that mean something to everyone. And they're all constantly interacting.
Okay, we've been talking big picture, society-level stuff. Let's zoom all the way in now to the most intimate level there is, the architecture inside your own head. So you can think of your mind as having 3 layers, kind of like a fortress. The outer layer, the periphery, is just a filter. It catches stuff like a song that gets stuck in your head, but most messages get blocked. Then there's the middle layer, where you can have a rational debate or categorize new information without it really threatening your core beliefs. But when a message breaks through to that third, deepest layer, the core interior, that's when real transformation happens. That's when a cultural idea becomes a part of who you are.
And right at the very heart of that core, you find the 4 simple concepts that drive everything we do. It's a progression. It all starts with the basic fundamental awareness. I am. I exist. From there, you can feel I need, an awareness that something is missing. That feeling then gets focused into a conscious I want. And finally, that desire solidifies into the commitment to act, I will. This simple sequence is the engine of your cultural self.
Okay, so we've got this whole internal meaning machine chugging away. But how does that become the world that we actually see and touch? How do these deep psychological processes become the visible actions that shape our reality?
There's this fantastic German word Gegenstand that explains this perfectly. It's the process of turning neutral things in the environment into meaningful objects through our own intention. So a forest is just a bunch of trees, a neutral thing, until we decide it's a park for relaxing, a sacred grove for worship, or a source of lumber. We don't just find meaning in the world, we actively project it onto the world. We create it.
And a huge part of this creation process is this constant cultural tug of war in how we value things. On one side, you have commoditization, which is the drive to make everything interchangeable, to put a price tag on it. But on the other side, you have singularization, which pulls things out of that system and declares them unique, priceless, and special. Think of a family heirloom or a wedding ring.
Now, if you want a totally wild, real-world example of singularization, look no further than 17th century Holland. A simple flower, a tulip, became so culturally singularized, so prized, that people were literally trading their houses for a single bulb. It's the perfect, insane example of how our shared cultural beliefs can construct and then, just as quickly, destroy unbelievable value.
And look, this isn't just some strange story from history. You do this every single morning when you get dressed. Your body, your clothes, the way you do your hair, it's all a stage. You are constantly performing your identity, your status, and your beliefs. Every choice is a cultural act that sends a message to the world about who you are.
So let's bring it all home. Culture isn't some static thing you inherit, like your eye color. It is the architecture of meaning that you're actively building and rebuilding every single day to make sense of the world. It's this constant, dynamic process happening both inside your own mind and in the world all around you.
Which leaves us with one final thought. If culture is the active tending of our world, and you are the one holding the tools, what are you cultivating today?